And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal. The full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
Good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Rosso, certified financial planner, here with Matt Damon.
Good morning.
Doyle. They get mixed up a lot when he walks down the street.
Many times have I been asked for an autograph.
They always go up to him and go, "Where's Ben Affleck today?" Mm-hmm. He's not with J-Lo. Seems to be with Jen a lot more. And the chat is totally insane this morning for the Real Investment Show.
I think Ed's giving away some...
Ed Gein is giving away lampshades or people who used to be those. He's living the role, let's just say. Mm-hmm. Larry Smith's had too much coffee. But they are talking about the loss of a seminal actor, Gene Hackman, who obviously is tragic. Even though he was in his 90s, the man was just a phenomenal actor. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. On my birthday, Dad took me to see the Poseidon Adventure, and I almost passed out. That was my love of movies right there, and that Gene Hackman character was amazing. Then The French Connection was filmed not far from my neighborhood growing up, and there was just something about Gene Hackman that was magical. And then the New York Post showed a photo of him last year coming out of a gas station in Santa Fe, and I was shocked because he's over 90. He's walking and he's mobile, but, he's old, and Gene Hackman was just too big a figure to die. He was that kind of an actor. So hopefully they figure out what happened to him and his wife and his dog, and it's just tragic. You always expect someone up there at that stage of life to pass, but daughter said, he's healthy, he does Pilates. He was walking for someone who was like 94 at the time. He walking faster than most people, so I could tell he was pretty mobile overall, but he was just thin and over 90, right? Happens to all of us. So Adam Taggart said that Gene Hackman's mysterious death will cause a Mexican housing crash. I'm sorry. That's pretty damn funny, Larry. Whatever you're taking this morning, send some over here. So we hope they find out what's wrong. But, of course, the conspiracy theorists will be out there making waves. It was Hillary. It was somebody, listen, you just got to get the toxicology reports. But realize, go back and look at his portfolio of work. Even the firm, some of his later work. The guy's amazing. What I like about him is he never really shared his politics. He just wanted to be the best actor he could be. Served everybody, didn't care, and was great at his craft. And you've got to really respect somebody.
Yeah, I heard that he basically got kicked out of acting school as a young man because he had no talent.
Yeah, no talent.
According to his professor or whatever, his instructor. But the guy got 2 Oscars, I think.
Yeah. Well, he said, I read something that he said his dad he was a young child. He was playing out in the street with his ball or whatever, and his dad was pulling out of the driveway, and he watched his dad drive away, and in his gut, he felt like he'd never see his dad again, and he never did. And it created something in him that made him the actor he is. Mm-hmm. He said that was really one of the first things that he remembers that sort of maybe spurred that creative bone or that feeling that, oh my gosh, this might be the last time I see my dad. And it was.
Wow.
So he went out for the proverbial cigarettes and never returned, so to speak. So, but other than that, we've got futures up this morning. Obviously, this has been a bumpy ride. Bitcoin, which was 100,000, obviously has been faltering. What's interesting that the Bitcoin ETFs have seen the steepest outflows across the board. And this is according to Bloomberg, right? They are $1 billion have been pulled from spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds as of Tuesday, making that the biggest one-day outflow since the cohort's debut last January. You know, it's something that Lance talked about, which is very true. Bitcoin is not a diversifier. Bitcoin is a speculative asset connected one-to-one to equities, especially in the riskiest, highest beta part of the market. Those stocks that we're seeing get hit, NVIDIA, which had a spectacular report, and the stock market's absolutely ridiculous, the way we set expectations. Palantir, you know, if you own the Magnificent Seven this year, you're almost in magnificent heaven, because when you look in your portfolio, you think it died. But you have to remember, diversification has worked for you this year. Bonds have worked for you this year. Boring stocks have worked for you this year. A 60-40 portfolio, a 40-60 portfolio has outperformed the S&P 500. When all the stories that came out is that diversification is dead, portfolio 60-40 models are dead, everything is dead. And even Ed Gein said everything is dead, but he meant it. But that's not true. Now you go back and look at seasonal or calendar factors, which you got to take with a grain of salt. I hate that term, and Lance uses it all the time, and I just used it. So seasonally, the first year of a presidential cycle, the first quarter is rough. If you go back in history, that is what you will see. The first year of a presidential cycle are the lowest returns out of the 4 years. Okay, so we've pretty much wiped out all the gains of the S&P 500. Anything really strong as far as these more speculative assets have come down quite a bit. So you got to look at this as, Ed Gein says, dead. Dead is a big business. It is. Look at Service Corporation, right? Everybody's dying to get in. So, and Brent is dressed for a funeral almost every week. I have to say, when I come in and I see him wearing a tie and a shirt, I'm like, funeral? And he goes, yes. One day he's going to say, I'm going to say, wedding? Yes. No. Funeral. I think funerals around town are hiring Brent, because they could sit him up front and he looks just like that wonderful, nice man that's sitting there to pay his respects. You want Brent at every one of your funerals. I highly endorse. You know what? We may have just created a new cottage industry for Brent.
Diversifier income stream.
Uh-huh. I mean,
he's killing it.
He is killing it. He's killing it. So, perspective on the fact that if you have a diversified portfolio, stop whining like a little girl in a corner, because you're doing fine. Matter of fact, I mean, sentiment, when I look at sentiment for stocks and I look at retail investors after a 3-4% pullback in the market, they're whining like little girls and they're running off in the corner. And that's ridiculous. Okay? We have been saying it. Lance wrote about it in Curb Your Enthusiasm, but we have been saying it for at least 6 months. This year, it was not going to look like last year, and that is exactly where you are. And we get back, we're going to talk about the Social Security Fairness Act, retroactive benefits that we've been talking about. Starting immediately, there's only one person left at the Social Security Administration. Is that the only person cutting checks? Ed Gein, we need you over at the Ed, we need you at my post office, because some of those people, I'm telling you, I'm sending you the list. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments, retroactive to last year. What are you going to do with all that extra income? Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets. Saturday, March 29th, Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your question about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP GP and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So Emma Rant on the chat says, my father wore Rosso's 70s outfits. I will tell you, the biggest influence on my clothing was Gene Hackman in the Poseidon Adventure. And so did Charlton Heston in Earthquake. Okay, that was another very cool movie for me as a kid. And I would wear the turtleneck with the sport coat. I do that all day long, every day. That's how I would dress. Thank you, Gene Hackman. You have set my wardrobe. But that's who when he was, can't remember who he was, pastor on the Poseidon Adventure. That's what he wore. And I was like, this dude is the coolest dude. He's got all the young chicks that love him. I'm like, this is the man. I got to dress like this. And then I started dressing like that as a kid, and I look like a freak. I'm the only kid in school in like a little sport coat and a turtleneck, and I got beat up a lot for that. You know, you're like 8 years old and you look like you're 45. It's sort of weird. My dad goes, all right, he'll learn. I did. So Ed Gein, besides the fact that he could break people up, says core PCE could break us up. Yeah, this is a big number today. PCE inflation month over month, January, 0.3 expected, 0.3 previously. Right? Year over year, it's 2.5 expected, 2.6 previously. We have been in this sticky inflation cycle that has been around a while. Although it's funny listening to the mainstream media who is telling us now the only thing we seem to be eating is eggs. Eggs seem to be the thing. Like, in other words, that's where inflation. Eggs every day. When we had inflation, it was, you don't really have inflation or it's transitory. But now it seems seemingly everybody's going to die if they don't eat a damn egg. And it's amazing. So all you people that are eating 12 dozen eggs a day, I'm sorry for your inflation. But that's, what are you going to do? I mean, I've never seen a media so egg obsessed in my life. Matter of fact, I would like to send them a whole bunch of legs pantyhose and put it over their heads. Because this is where we are. It's ridiculous.
The coverage is excessive.
It is exactly excessive. It's hard boiled. Come on, keep going. I don't know, Brad. I don't know where to go here.
Well, you're getting kind of thin on this.
Yeah.
Thin shelled.
This is a bad yolk.
Cracks me up.
Matt's going, I'm leaving now.
Don't shoot till you see the whites of their eggs.
But it is, I mean, what about the egg? What about the children? What about the eggs? Oh my God. I'm sorry. It's just news and media has become absolutely ridiculous to me.
Well, you can always go to TikTok and get your influencer bits.
I like those better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more entertaining.
Yeah, they are very entertaining. I can get lost on a cycle. I can see why this stuff is so, seductive, right? Mm-hmm. Because you are stuck to these videos. And it doesn't have to, I'm not talking about raunchy videos. I'm talking about like just people doing stuff. Mm-hmm. Fixing cars. Like, I'm fascinated by the people that are living in their cars and their vans and taking school buses and turning them into places to live.
Bomb
like these
shelters.
Gen Z.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is it. This is how I want to live. And they show how they they took everything out of the buses, put them back. And I don't know. There's some, as bad as obviously TikTok could be and videos and YouTube, there are some pretty interesting things that people are doing. Like building these small cabins. There's one that takes place somewhere in Mississippi, and the guy's building cabins for people all over the country. I mean, sometimes I'm just fascinated by, some of the stuff. So,
have you seen the one where the guy takes apart a CVT transmission?
No, but I heard about it. There's also a woman who does that. She takes apart.
She's
she
good.
puts it all. Yeah. And she puts it all back together. It's not my thing, but I can see why that would fascinate people who are into that kind of thing. Then there's the guy he's standing like AOC at the dairy, in the dairy part of the supermarket at the eggs and crying. The eggs are in cages. So there's that thing going on. 70s criminals wearing pantyhose over their heads. Yeah, I missed that look too. That criminal. I don't wonder how they breathe when they do it. It's porous.
Mesh.
Yeah, it's mesh.
Did you have the bushy mustache and go
Not at 7, no. Okay. I waited till 10.
Waited till 10?
Yeah. Italian kids at 10 even the girls had full mustaches. So that was, we were very hairy, Italians, very hairy. Who's that hairball walking down the street? That's a person. Okay. So speaking of hairy, Social Security has been hairy, right? Go ahead, as we are Social Security specialists. One of the last things we try to tell people to do is contact Social Security Administration and see what they have to say, because then usually they're wrong and we have to correct them. But we talked about, and we're going to be having savvy Social Security planning coming up. The Social Security Fairness Act. Now, you might be married to somebody who was a teacher, worked in civil work, and did not really contribute to Social Security, then couldn't take the bratty kids in kindergarten, said, these kids didn't learn anything. I'm going out of here. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to work somewhere else. And went to work for a company and got Social Security, and they also paid into pension. And there was these formulas that we needed to do for survivor benefits and spousal benefits to cut or, make it more fair across the board. Well, like there was some windfall, even though you actually earned these things. So that's gone. But the complication of understanding these integrations was out there. We had to calculate that for everybody. We don't have to do that anymore, but we want to make people understand what could happen. And what we're going to be talking about right now is what could happen, is because what they're looking at is retroactive payments for people that were subject to the GPO and the WEP. So start issuing retroactive payments in February. I'll believe it when I see it. By the way, have you seen the prices of eggs lately? Woo, terrible. And then increase monthly benefit payments beginning in April. Because the original estimate was this was going to take at least a year to get going. So the SSA chief says, no, only in complex cases. So it's going to be immediately beginning to pay retroactive benefits, and then will increase again those monthly benefits for those who were affected by the Windfall Elimination Provision and government pension offset, which were repealed under, again, the Social Security Act. So this is going to affect about 3 million people who receive a pension that is based on work not covered by Social Security, which is what we call a non-covered pension. So that's I think, Matt, a pretty aggressive schedule So teachers, firefighters, police officers, many states, federal employees covered by civil service retirement systems will start getting those retroactive payments. I am sort of shocked the government is moving this quickly on this. I was daring to say that we wouldn't be seeing anything like this for another year.
Yeah. So it goes back to what? January of last year is the retroactive date. It doesn't go back all the way to the beginning of the retirement.
I think in the original act, and I may be wrong, when they said retroactive, I made the big assumption they were going back to the beginning.
Right.
But that's not the case.
Right.
Still going to be a nice little chunk of change for
Sure,
you.
sure.
So it's going to be a nice little surprise.
The irony is, for some people, it'll actually be a windfall.
It will be.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they got their punch cards reprogrammed on their state-of-the-art equipment at the IRS.
You mean COBOL?
Fortran.
Don't laugh. I bet that's what they use over there. They have Microsoft Series 1,
Right.
whatever the heck it was. It is ridiculous that our systems in the federal government are so archaic. With all the amazing technology out there today, it sort of surprises me that we're in this state in many federal agencies. Before it was a little complicated, so I had some people before, Matt, that would sort of ignore this, and I would say, listen, you got to understand that you got to be careful of how this whole works, because you think you're going to collect this money and then you're not going to collect this money. And they were sort of shocked. Like, wait a minute, I thought I was going to be collecting both. And that's not the case. So, but now you'll get this check, put it away. If you have your emergency reserve has been sort of used because, eggs, the cost of eggs, you've been buying so many eggs every day. Humpty Dumpty doesn't even have an egg because you took it. So it may be a good time for you to say the financial vulnerability cushion, a year's worth of living expenses, you might need to bolster that. What's great, I will tell you, Matt, is we've been saying for a long time on the show, the Fed, first of all, is stupid. They lowered rates 50 basis points before. No reason to do it. There's no reason to do it now. So you are still getting decent yields on cash, CDs, treasury bills. Well, it doesn't overcome the inflation. Have you seen the price of eggs? No, it doesn't. But it is better than earning what we have had pre-pandemic. And cash is there for a reason. Cash is there for emergencies or you're out of work. Listen, we are talking to people every day who are about to be or are laid off. Lyondell, Chevron, Southwest, right? Starbucks, the Egg Association of America. I don't know. You have to keep in mind that having some cash today, and especially if you're looking to buy speculative assets like Bitcoin, all right? Because eventually you might want to buy some of these speculative assets. You're getting your opportunity is coming for you. But you won't buy because you'll be too scared because, again, look at the price of eggs. We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments, retroactive to last year. What are you going to do with all that extra income? Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets. Saturday, March 29th, Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your question about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Are you a financial advisor sneaking peeks at our stuff? Instead of trying to do it all yourself, why not just join the team at RIA Advisors? Our full-service organization can provide you with the support, unparalleled research, and tools for managing your clients' money and honoring the fiduciary pledge of putting clients' best interest first. Don't take our word for it. Talk to the advisors that work with us. Want to come win with us? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors, big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
So today's earnings announcements are making me hungry. We have Cheesecake Factory, followed by Wingstop and Toast. I've got a craving for toast and wings right now, and
Toast
some cheesecake.
and wings.
Toast, wings, and cheesecake.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
What diet are you on right now?
Don't eat anything and work out like a fiend. So
Yeah, how's that working out?
It's working out great.
Oh, you
I've
sure?
lost 4 more pounds, so I'm down.
That's it?
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
I didn't have that much to lose to start with.
I don't know.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
If you're working and looking to retire soon, a Medicare special enrollment period is in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA Advisors' online resources and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid gaps in coverage. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So I forgot to mention our Savvy Social Security Planning Candid Coffee Saturday, March 29th from 8 to 9 a.m. So we live stream that at StreamYard.com, and you can sign up at Real Investment Advice. I will tell you, Lance, first of all, I have yet to see Lance eat a wing, a roll, and whatever the hell else he talked about. That's ridiculous. We went out for lunch yesterday. We both had salads, and I know that was the last meal he was probably going to eat for 2 days. So he's not craving cheesecake, everyone. He's just not. It's not happening. So his wife would kill him. He's not allowed to eat that. She could eat it. He can't. And he stays healthy for that. You know, the one thing we always do talk about is health is connected to wealth. You must keep up your health, and it has nothing to do with going to the doctor and getting some medication. It has to do with the fact that your lifestyle, are you sedentary or not? What's your diet like? Listen, you don't have to make big changes, and you can cheat once in a while, okay? When people go and do these things all out, where they're just going to eat cucumbers for a week, it's going to fail. It's not going to work, right? But reasonable amount of exercise, moderations in your diet, staying active, those things can add years to your life, because people will say, well, my mom died at whatever, my dad. Well, there's something to be said for that. But most of your imprint is lifestyle. most of your imprint is lifestyle. So keep that in mind. So Lance is not going anywhere near cheesecake or... Matter of fact, we went to Taste of Texas, and we talked to Ed Hindi over there. If the most amazing place in the world is Taste of Texas. I have never seen so many incredible Texas artifacts. He's got the doors to the Alamo in there, right? He just bought William Travis's rifle that he fired at the Alamo. Yeah.
Wow.
Somewhere in there is William Travis's carcass. I'm sure he's got the bones, and he's got the... it is an amazing Texas history museum.
In the basement.
Isn't it? So, a lot of kids will go there for school trips. Haley went when she was little. I should take Amy there because she's born in Texas, but she knows... I know more about Texas than she does. But it's, just to go there and see all the different artifacts Mrs. Hindi has curated, it's just amazing. But to see that rifle is beautiful. You would love it, Brent. The rifle is beautiful. So it's just a great place. And I'm like, so they make all their desserts by hand there. And the girl, and by the way, we had an incredible, Ed does such an amazing job teaching his wait staff how to take care of people. It is an amazing, whatever he does, he's just a great guy, and he does it right. So they come around with the desserts that they all make there. And of course, I was like, oh, I should get a dessert. Lance is there. I'm not going to eat this dessert in front of him.
Did you get some Texas caviar?
No.
Oh, no. At the salad bar, Texas caviar.
No, we didn't do the salad bar. We had salad. But we didn't do the salad bar. But the people we were with did the salad bar, and it was amazing. The rolls and all that. But of course,
cinnamon butter.
Lance doesn't eat bread, so he's the most boring person to go to lunch with. Or he's the best person to go to lunch with. It has nothing to do with the conversation. But if you're going there to eat, that's not your guy. He
sits down and orders the boiled chicken
steamed
foot.
broccoli with the
cauliflower sauce.
He's that guy. So we're waiting for Danny. So I said, you know what? Let's order Danny like a vegan steak because he's running late. Like Ed would have vegan steak, right? But it would just be funny. Like, just get him a slab of tofu. See, Ed, do you have any tofu back there that we could just bring out for Danny? Because that'll teach him to be late.
Eggplant fillet.
If you haven't gone to Taste of Texas, I will highly encourage that.
And try the Texas caviar.
Try the Texas caviar. The salad bar looks amazing. Ed, you can just give me that rifle for promoting you. Okay. Beautiful. Man, he's got a Texas Rangers gun.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It's a cool
Amy.
place.
It's just. So we were talking about health and wealth. We're talking about all kinds of things. You must read, because I want to give Lance kudos here, because because he's starving to death, his writing gets better. But we follow something called the CAPE-5. CAPE-10 is great, and Bob Schiller's CAPE-10, but you have to look at that. Valuations are really great predictor of long-term returns. They stink for short-term momentum. But as Lance writes, there is a mismatch between valuations and expectations, right? We have had some mumbo jumbo, eggs Benedict, weird kind of stuff going on in the financial system since 2008, right? We had the FASB rule 157, temporarily repealed, still not there, right? We don't know how to how to value financial assets. There's so many things out there that warrants that we need to truncate these valuation factors or metrics. So we look at the CAPE-5, which is it's much more, I think, predictive in the short term based on how people invest today, which is for 1 minute. So what I would say is take a look at that article that he wrote today. So we tend to use CAPE-5, and we tend to use these metrics in our financial planning software, right, Matt? We're not using historical returns to build plans. We are using forward-looking returns. And then just because we want to make sure people understand is that where valuations are, whether it's CAPE-10 or CAPE-5, we are extended, and we may be preparing you for retiring in a headwind. And, people would say sometimes that it's maybe, bearish. It's not. It's just, I think, practical for where we are today. If valuations change, these numbers get changed. So I will say, back in 2012, Matt, I increased the return estimates on everything, and everybody thought I was crazy. But based on where we were from a valuation perspective, based on where we were from Fed accommodation, I figured that we might have a tailwind to returns. And then I looked really dumb for that year because it looked like we might get a retrace. But we moved forward.
Right.
But then in about 2019, 2020, I readjusted these returns going forward to be lower. And I think the people or our clients that we do planning for, I think they appreciate the realistic manner we do it. What do you think?
Well, look, here's the thing. When I first started in the business, and I can remember as a 20-year-old kid trying to figure out how to be a stockbroker, I met a wholesaler for variable insurance products. And I was learning about them. I didn't really know what they were. And I asked him, and I think he told me that he ran the illustrations at an assumed rate of return of 12% a year. And he just said it like it was nothing. And I looked at the guy as though he had two heads, right? But the point being is that, folks that work with us, that we assist with their planning and with their investments, come here because they're not getting that sort of mentality. I'm not going to name any of the big names out there, but you have two modes of thought, really. And one is the past is prologue and, diversification and all of this sort of stuff. And let's look at what a 30-year return is. But, if you're 82, you probably don't have that 30 years in front of you. Right. And so if you have a 2008 when you're at 82 and your accounts are down 50, 60%, that's a problem at that time. Mitigating risk is something that happens through active management. There's a lot of talk about lost decades and stuff like that, where if you were an indexer, you started and ended at the same point. But folks that have, insight, that look at market themes, that look at, what's the right way to invest, what is going on, politically or macro, and all these different factors, and say, we want to position portfolios this way. That's what we do here. And when we do planning, yes, it's probably a conservative estimate, but better to be more conservative when we're doing these, lifetime projections for clients. But there's those firms out there that, they'll throw in your 9% a year return.
Exactly.
And throw that on there. And, you're a this investor, no matter if the market's up or down. They don't really care. They'll just throw you in 100% that day. And then, your plan looks great. Well, sure, it looks great because everything's growing at 9% forever. So it's
you could retire and keep spending more money. You're absolutely fine.
Right.
And you know what? If valuations long-term warrant us to update these asset class returns, we'll do it. We're completely agnostic about that. It's just math, because what happens is this value compression that you get, that's the overall business cycle. You get mean reversions over time. So we have to prepare you for changes. The only change I made was about 3 years ago. I did increase the return on fixed income, some elements of fixed income. So we have to be mindful of that. Update the software for what we see going forward for you and how you may be looking to retire. So, and to Matt's point, we'd rather have the conversation with you that, guess what? We were a little bit too conservative and you have a little bit more money to spend versus, how do you look in a beaver suit because you're going to be working at Buc-ee's? Although that doesn't seem like a bad idea. And by the way, have you seen the price of eggs lately? Woof.
You're cracking me up.
Yay, we got a joke out of Matt this morning. I won. The show is over. I kid. We'll be right back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Social Security Fairness Act dropped elements that reduced Social Security payments, retroactive to last year. What are you going to do with all that extra income? Our next Candid Coffee offers savvy Social Security planning if you were dinged by windfall and pension offsets. Saturday, March 29th, Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff answer your questions about Social Security benefits and what the removal of WEP and GPO means for your retirement. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. Register today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. Or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So Matt was nice enough to point out that people are asking about what do you think expectations could be for markets? Well, it's in the article, but generally speaking, when you look at forward-looking returns, and Lance provides the analysis for that, you're looking at anywhere for domestic equities, negative 2% to at the highest maybe 7%, but you're really clustering around the 4 to 5%. Okay. That's not, and again, that's nominal, right? That's not based on where your inflation is. So what your real return is quite lower. So that is just reality, people. Okay. So when you do a financial plan, what is created is your personal rate of return. What do you need? I ran one yesterday based on the client's portfolio, Social Security analysis, most important, their lifestyle and expectations, Matt, their portfolio benchmark was 2.83%. Now remember, that gets inflation adjusted over time. You don't want to just take all your money and say, well, I got bonds and they're going to pay 4%. Okay. And that's a great point. But that's not an inflation index number over time. We are looking at this stuff in the present, but we are also projecting it out to the future. But if I have a benchmark portfolio rate of 2.83%, that tells me a few things. One, I live very modestly, along with the fact I've saved quite a bit, and I've got great discipline with debt. Right? It's saying a lot, like your credit score says a lot. I ran one the other day, and my estimate for this client was 11%, which tells me this person is looking for the stock market to bail him out. Mm-hmm. He's looking for Bitcoin to bail him out. We can't have that discussion. The discussion we have to have is, how do we make your retirement look more realistic? Whether it's the expectations you have, either it's you working longer, living smaller, What kind of strategy can we do? So the portfolio is the last thing I'm going to worry about when someone tells me that's the return estimate they need or that's what I think they might need. I don't care what stock you pick. It is your problem is bigger. Your obstacle is bigger. It doesn't mean it's insurmountable. It's not. But we have to come up with a plan that focuses on everything except the portfolio. Because if Lance is right, and the way we've built our estimates on forward-looking returns, the market is not going to bail you out. Yeah, a bull market erases a lot of mistakes. It covers them up. And then when the tide goes out, you know what happens? Shrinkage. Right? So you have to look at, right, Matt? We as planners, we have to look at structurally who you are financially, your money script, what drives you to get to this level that you need 11% to maintain a lifestyle. And sometimes that's constructive, but a tough conversation that planners need to have, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we do, I like to use analogies as being a doctor or a coach, right? Mm-hmm. A coach can't instill that sort of drive, right? The athlete has to naturally possess that or sort of self-motivate. I'll tell you, I was having a client meeting this week, and very happily the client was reporting that the last mortgage payment is going out now.
Wow.
It's paid off.
Nice.
And then in the next breath, it was, I'm going to take that $950 or whatever it was a month that I've been paying in my mortgage, and I'm putting it in a savings account. See, most people would say, well, look, I just got a bonus. I'm going to go out and spend that $950.
That's right.
And what happens is his lifestyle increases. You get used to.
Get that lifestyle creep, right? Now you're going to use that $950 again.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when, you point out, the tide goes out, the boat starts sinking, and it's very, very difficult to claw that back, especially if you've already pulled the retirement lever, right? And then, you don't have a steady source of income. And you're having to sell out of portfolios at 20, 30, 40, 50% losses, which you don't want to be in that position.
Absolutely. It's got to feel really good, but the most important information you received, your cue, was what are you going to do with those savings? Obviously, if he's eating eggs, all that $950 is going to eggs, according to CBS News. So I get that.
He's buying all 4 eggs in the store for that $950.
I mean, listen, we're eating the shells. We're eating everything.
Extract all the value.
What do you make, a shell soup? Rough. Wow. Yeah, it could be. So these returns, when Lance writes about CAPE-5, which I do think is ingenious, I think CAPE-5 is one of the best things we calculate here because it is more realistic for the environment we're in today. Don't get disheartened. Do some financial soul searching to figure out, what do I need to do when returns are that low? Does it interrupt my plan? Does it change my life? And as we say, and I said ad nauseum on the show, I have clients that have less than $500,000 and have the best retirements I've ever seen. And I've got clients that have over $7-8 million and they have the worst retirements I've ever seen. It is lifestyle, expectations. There's a lot that goes into that soup, except eggs because they're expensive. But everything else goes into that soup, right? So you work, as Florane says, you work hard to lower your expenses before retirement. Yeah, and lower seems like a bad word. You have to moderate and figure out what your lifestyle is going to look like. That's why we use a new software program that figures out you can't go by a fixed withdrawal rate. This 4% rule of taking money out of your account, fixed rate of withdrawal for variable assets doesn't make sense. There is no magic withdrawal rate. Right. It's underspending, overspending. It's a gauge. Depending on where you are in your life, I'm in the active part of my retirement, and it also depends on what your assets are doing. So it's a dynamic number. There could be some years you're taking out an 8% withdrawal rate, and then you're taking out a 2% withdrawal rate.
Right.
What kind of headwind, what kind of tailwind do you have in your portfolio to know what your bandwidth is? right?
And I'll tell clients in meetings. I mean, I like to start very basic and have this is a football conversation. And I'll tell clients, point of fact, you are driving the car. We're there to tell you where the ditches are. And so we give you the bookends. We tell you, here's, you're sacrificing lifestyle. You could be enjoying your money more. You could be having more fun, giving it away, helping out kids, whatever that is. And then up here's a danger zone. But, we can't go to the grocery store with you every day and buy your eggs for you.
Right. We can't now.
You've got to make those choices for yourself.
You absolutely cannot.
Yeah. No, I saw the other day when I was in the grocery store, I saw a 12-pack of beer on the egg display. And I thought choices were made.
Choices were made.
Choices were made.
I got an idea for Easter. You don't paint eggs, you paint potatoes. What? You can't go potato hunting?
Boiled potato? Painted boiled potato.
Yeah, like a russet.
Hey, kids, this spud's for you.
Now, instead of the Easter bunny, who would you have?
Mr. Potato Head.
We're mind melding this morning. We are mind melding.
That's brilliant.
This morning. Oh, my.
The eyes have it.
I just hope the last thing Gene Hackman didn't watch on television was the horrific egg shortage that we're having right now. I hope it didn't make him unhappy. Because I will hurt you people if you made Gene Hackman unhappy. It's all about perspective in retirement, but it's all about perspective for whatever darn goal you're saving for. I was just never... I like to go out for nice dinners once in a while because I think the woman I'm with deserves those. But otherwise, I'm eating broccoli at home in a corner. I don't need a big house. I don't need those things. But there are people that feel like they want all that stuff, and that's fine. If you're financial, no one's going to make, no solid financial planner is going to judge you. They just want you to fit into the lifestyle and look at it pragmatically. No one's there to say, oh my gosh, you're spending money on what? No, if that's what makes you happy, great. We just want to make sure that you have enough money and your spouse has enough money. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. We can't set your goal set for you, right? I mean, that's your purview. That's what you need to decide. But we can tell you if that's a possibility and what's the likelihood of that happening. We have sophisticated tools that'll help us answer those questions for you.
Yeah, I think that's really important that you understand that overall. So when we do these lunch and learns, we do candid coffees, throughout the year, we're going to be doing these events to just educate you on other things you should do to make your life easier. Because again, there's a piece I'm writing and there's a great study talking about income, right? Because income for us, that's your lifeblood in retirement, right? Otherwise, your veins are constricted. It's like not having enough blood flow. You need growth. I grant you that. But the most important element of your retirement is cash coming in. And where people spend more is when they have guaranteed income sources, whether it's pension, Social Security, they create their own pension, as opposed to this variable asset stuff, right? Even though that's nice to have. So I'll be writing that for March. But we study all of this here. We also study a lot of movies and other good stuff. And Lance will be back Monday. Take a look at that article about CAPE-5. It's available on the website. Sign up for Lance's newsletter, Real Investment Advice, Savvy Social Security Planning, March 29th. Sign up. We want you there. Free eggs. We're giving away eggs if you sign up. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Glad you're here.